Hello guys, and welcome back to the Vaux Wizard channel. Now today's video will be a little bit different to the norm because in about 10 minutes a brand new Audi RS3 saloon will be arriving courtesy of the guys at Audi UK, who have very kindly agreed to loan it to me for a week. Now some of you may remember back in November I did a very early first drive review of the RS3 Sportback that I borrowed from Tetbury Audi, but because that car was so brand new and not even run in yet, the driving elements of that video was somewhat limited. Well, rest assured I'm determined to make amends for that today. But alongside the video that will focus on the RS3's dynamics, which will drop in a few days, I want to make a video about living with the new Audi RS3 because I'm going to use it as my daily car over the next week. So I'm pretty sure in this video you'll learn a lot about this car you won't see anywhere else. So grab yourself a drink, make yourself comfortable, and let's get day one rolling by going outside and watching the new RS3 arrive. Bit of a change of plan today. The chap who's dropped it off is a bit stuck for a lift, so I'm going to drop him down to a bus stop that's about 10 minutes away. It's quite a good drive, so let's get in the car and get down there. Okay, I've just dropped the chap off at a bus stop so he can get to Banbury. I didn't look what mode we were in, but I just drove it and it felt like a normal car, changing gear early, not making too much noise, ride very compliant. I didn't even need to look at individual mode to see what dampers we've got. This car is on the adaptive dampers and they're super comfortable when you're just driving normally to a point. Initially they feel comfortable. I'm not convinced as yet they're super comfortable all the time, but we'll find out in the week we've got with the car. But we find ourselves on an icy road now, a very icy road. And well, it's a good time to see what Quattro does, isn't it? So let's just, yeah, we get going, don't we? It's just the stopping that's the problem on these summer tyres. Loads of traction though, so that's good, typical Quattro. At some point in this video I'm going to have to try and get the car sideways, so I just want to learn its ways as early as possible so I can do that in a safe way. There's lots to talk about generally about the new RS3, but we've kind of already covered them in other videos. I think the dynamics are really crucial, and what I want to find out is that if I, as an average-ish driver, can take advantage of the modifications Audi have made to the RS3 chassis with a torque splitter and RS torque rear. Because, you know, I know driving gods like Joe Achilles can, but I'm more of a front wheel drive man, so can I feel the benefit? Well, to find out, I've put the car in individual mode. Everything's aggressive apart from the dampers. Torque splitter's aggressive, ESC's in the sport setting. I'm going to go around this slow second gear corner and see if we can actually feel it push the back out, because an Audi will generally understeer in a corner like this. So let's just turn in, get on the gas, nothing's coming. I think my hands have stopped shaking now, so let's move on to more mundane matters, and I just want to do an MPG test briefly on my way to work. I live 36 miles away from work, and my Club Sport, which has got 300 and something horsepower, will do easily sort of 35 to 40, even top 40 if I stick to the speed limit. So we're going to go gently sticking to speed limits in this car for a level playing field, and we'll reset the short-term memory right there, and we'll put it into efficiency mode because that's what I often drive my Golf in, just when I'm doing normal miles. So that's it. I better put it into drive. It's automatic. It isn't that automatic, so I'll just report back when I get to work and you can see what we've done in this car for a real world MPG test. got to work and it was a very relaxing drive in efficiency mode. MPG is not bad. You have to bear in mind though, I started this journey from warm. Normally when I'm commuting I start with a very cold engine, probably recently up to about freezing, so it's not bad. I don't think the Club Sport would be better, but then you kind of expect that from a 2-litre car versus a 2.5. That's still very impressive for a 400 horsepower car that can do 0 to 60 in 3.8 or 3.5 seconds, as some people have found out. Right, let's quickly talk about the spec in this car. So we have the panoramic glass sunroof in this launch edition, which is cool. Best bit about it is you can have the sunroof open, close the blind and just revel in the sound of the engine without any buffeting from the wind. We've got leather, which certainly looks more expensive than the sort of recycled interior with the Alcantara and the fake leather bolsters. That looks better. Interior, well, you know my opinions on this car. I'm not a big fan of it, especially because we don't get the options to dress it up like they do in Germany. So you can have red stitching, which makes it all really nice. You get a red patch there, you get red edges on the seat belts, you get red inlays there, and you get the Alcantara steering wheel with the dead ahead marker in, and that's just too good to not have. So come on, Audi UK, give us those options. We don't mind paying for them. Other than that, this car's got adaptive cruise control, which is nice. It's got a distance marker there. Obviously it's got navigation. It's got this inlay, which is a bit carbony. It's quite nice actually. Yeah, don't think there's an awful lot to talk about here. Obviously we've got virtual cockpit, which is still pretty cool. Better turn it off. Keyless entry and go.
Phone is still in the vehicle.
Annoying messages. But standard A3 F3 in there, Alcantara there. Interestingly, even though we've got the leather interior, outside, yep, it's yellow, and it's got the 19-inch wheels that I think you get on the carbon black edition, so they're all black. It's got pretty sure the LED matrix headlights. Yeah, so it does the RS3 thing in the headlight. There's a radar for the cruise. So we've got black front of the roof here with the pan roof like you normally get. Roof sits outside, black bit on the spoiler. The exhausts, I think they're black, so that's a sports exhaust. But yeah, a pretty handsome car in saloon form, but I think the Sportback looks better than the old one. So before I used to prefer the saloon. It's a bit harder to decide between them for me. I think because of that, just because of the practicality benefits of the Sportback, I'd go Sportback, but this is still a really great looking car in saloon form right now to do some proper work. I'm going to get in the RS3 again in a sec. It's just getting dark. It's about 3:30, getting on for 4. Today I've been stripping Project Corrado ready for the body shop because they're going to give me the nod to drop it in when they give me the box to back, because they're currently doing its front bumper. It's such a time-consuming process. If you ever want to get a car restored like this, just think very carefully about it, because to do it right, it takes hours and hours and hours. So yeah, luckily it's pretty quiet during the winter. So there she is, all covered in mud. So Ben should come down with his GTE soon for me to have a look at, and if I agree to buy it, I'm going to take him home in that very shortly. Okay, this is my new acquisition, this Golf GTE 2018 car, done 43,000 miles. Very different to the car I'm going to take the owner home back to Stroud in. So we're just going to lock up and hop in the RS3 and get on the motorway. Okay, it's now 10 to 5 and I've got Ben in the car who's just dropped the GTE down with me, and we're heading to Stroud. I reckon an hour, 6 minutes? About that, yeah. Yeah, and then I've got to head east all the way to Daventry to get home. So it's a good way of getting to know the car so I can review it thoroughly for you guys. It's 12 minutes past 6. I'm in Stroud at a McDonald's just because I'm addicted to their hot chocolate. This isn't a particularly good one though, it's a bit watery. Guy in the queue said to me, has it damaged your quarter panel as well as your door when he's talking about this car? He thought someone had driven into it, and I caught up with him out here and he was like, oh yeah, it's just assault. He's really emphasising the concave nature of the doors. That was quite funny, but when he left he said, smart car mate. It does seem to attract a lot of attention, mostly good, but today twice already there have been people driving a bit stupidly because of this car. I don't normally get it in my Golf, so we'll see as the week goes on if that's a bit of a trend. But now I've got probably best part of 2 hours driving cross country to get back to where I live near Daventry. I could go up the M5, M42, M40, but that's just really boring, so I'm going to let Waze take me a little bit more directly, but a little bit longer cross country. So yeah, I'll see you when I get back at home shortly. It's now 8 o'clock and I've just driven the RS3 for 3 hours solid. So Birmingham to Stroud to Daventry, done about 200 miles today, and it's been pretty good. Yeah, the seats are really comfortable. Once I adjusted the lumbar support anyway, which was in a bit of a funny position originally, there's been no real issues with it. The Apple CarPlay still has a bit of a funny glitch. Other than that, it's fine. 30 miles per gallon on average for today, which isn't brilliant because I've not been driving it that hard, but I think it's pretty good considering it's really cold out there and it's a 400 horsepower car with 4-wheel drive. So that's it for now. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello guys and welcome to day 2 with a brand new Audi RS3. Now I'm hoping today will be a little less hectic with me just going to work and back, but it's given me the opportunity to do a proper MPG test from cold. It's 3 degrees now, and this will then provide a level playing field with the MPG figures from my Mk8 Golf GTI Club Sport. So let's get going. I'm actually just following a new Range Rover. These were revealed to the public a few months ago, but they're not actually on the roads yet. There's been no actually test drives of them yet, so to see one in action on the road is still quite a rare sight. This one's definitely got an internal combustion engine because it's got exhaust tips. It's got those very controversial indicators, as you will see shortly. Some of them have got them down below as well, but blimey, they're going to get dirty. Let's see how it blinkers now. Yeah, there we go, sequential indicators. I've just arrived at work and the MPG figure is 35.4 miles per gallon. That is not bad at all. That's over 49 minutes of driving, 36.8 miles and an average speed of 45 miles per hour. The engine was pretty much at freezing point when it started and it hasn't got any warmer all the way here, so that's not going to help MPG. So in that context, that's pretty good. Now that's not as good as the Club Sport, but the Club Sport is a lot more efficient than say a Mk8 Golf R, and I reckon a Mk8 Golf R would be there or thereabouts the same. So for this 400 horsepower car with that charismatic engine under the bonnet to be matching a Mk8 Golf R, I think is pretty damn good. It's still daylight, but it's the end of my working day because I've done what I need to get done, and that is wash my car, which was covered in salt. I've done in the arches and underneath as well as best as I can. I've washed and vacuumed the GT and photographed that ready for sale. It's a nice car. Thanks for dropping it off, Ben. And the Corrado you saw yesterday is now pretty much stripped, ready to go. It's still legal. Lights are in. Side windows will come out when they get there because it's something people never do with painting Corrados. It needs to get done to do a proper job. Indicators I'll tape in because you have to take the fog lights out, and they don't sit in the bumper properly then, but just taping them in, they'll stay legal. They are still connected. So because it's daylight, it's a good time to go to somewhere that a lot of people make a special pilgrimage with their nice cars, and I'm sure some people down there will be really pleased to see the new RS3. So let's get in it and get down to our mystery location. As you might have guessed, I'm at Cafe in the Machine in Warwickshire. It's sort of on my way home. I'm sure a lot of you guys drive a lot of miles to come here and make a lot of effort and come at weekends when it's really busy. For me, it's just easier to come when I get the time on a weekday and just have a quick coffee and a look at the cars that are around here. I'm going to have a good look at that Alpine over there because it's quite an unusual colour, that. It's got gold wheels as well.
The toe and the camber on the rear especially, is that stock or is that just because it's press car?
It's stock, they don't mess around with them.
Because it's a surprising amount, it's noticeable, which means that there's like a good amount of degree on there.
The Volkswagen Group over the last few years have really increased the negative camber. I don't know why they decided to do it all of a sudden and why they haven't done it before. Yeah. But yeah, the geometry is much more aggressive on this and the Club Sport GTI and even the Golf R and the Leon Cupra.
Wow, yeah.
It makes a big difference, real big difference.
Yeah, I can imagine. But when you look at it on paper, it's only a couple of degrees, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, getting into cars and getting into your knowledge, it's like, well, what's 1 degree going to make a difference? It's like, it's a lot.
Welcome to day 3 with the new Audi RS3. Today I'm working from home and I'm just popping out for lunch with my wife Kate. Kate has owned a number of Audis, currently owns a Mark II TT S-Line, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to get somebody else's opinion on the new RS3. So, darling, what do you think?
It's very comfortable and feels very luxurious.
Yeah, it is in this comfort mode, which is really plush. If you go into dynamic, it's quite hard. It's quite a big difference.
It's quite juddery.
Yeah,
but,
on these Oxfordshire roads, it's perfectly comfortable. It does not feel like a 400 horsepower hyper saloon, does it? So
no, it's very, very comfortable in comfort mode.
Yeah, the seats help as well, though, don't they?
The seats are great
because they're pretty compliant.
The seats are adjustable.
Yeah, you've got 4-way lumbar.
And I would definitely do a long road trip in this car. The boot's very good in terms of the space for suitcases.
But you can't get a bike in. I mean, you know, we like to take my bike when we go away.
Yeah, so that kind of holiday, no, but
you need a Sportback for that, really. Hence the name Sportback.
Yes. If
you can get one in your market, because that's not available in every country. I guess if you're in America and you have to buy a saloon, you just stick your bike on your roof.
And I'd just say that I'd prefer to have the flat bottom steering wheel like I've got in my TT.
So it's weird that Audi forced you to have this RAM one with the assistance pack. I'd love to know the reason.
And the other thing I don't like is the vents in the front on the dashboard. I think they're very obvious. They're very clunky.
Yeah, they work well though. You know, they're in the right position, unlike the Golf ones, which are quite low down. So you might like that. Okay, what do you think about a middle-aged man driving a noisy yellow car then?
I think it's fine in yellow. I think you should drive any colour car that you want.
Okay, that's very liberal of you. What do you think about a middle-aged man driving a noisy yellow car wearing a sheep?
I think the car is fine. I'm not so sure about the sheep.
Okay, well, I think for that you better have a bit of launch control. Okay, that was launch. Now, time for lunch. Well, we're at our destination, which is Dalesford Farm Shop near Stowe on the Wold. I haven't been here since before COVID, so it's great to be back. Just want to talk about how dirty the RS3 is getting. I posted a picture on Twitter last night, and Jethro Bovingdon, the famous motoring journalist who's also got one on loan, said he'd noticed that his were getting dirty really quickly as well. And as you can see, it looks really cool, but it is a bit annoying because when you get in the car, it's very easy to get mud on your trousers from the sill that's a bit bigger than normal. And I can only conclude it's because the tyre sticks out much more than it does on a normal bodied A3 S3. That's because they've widened the arches, but they've widened the track of the car even more. Day 4 with the new Audi RS3, and I'm on the M40 heading to work. It's probably a good time to talk about this car's motorway prowess, because yes, it does go round corners better than any other RS3, but RS cars above all should be able to cover long distances, whatever the weather, in comfort. And sitting here at 70 miles an hour, I'm surprised by how much road noise there is, and that's actually common to A3 and S3, but it's worse on the RS3 because we've got a lot more rubber on the road. So say you had an S3 with 19-inch wheels, you'd have 235 wide tyres, just like my Mk8 Golf GTI Club Sport. This car has got 265 on the front, so 3 sizes wider, 245 on the back, so 1 size wider. That's actually more rubber on the road than my Porsche Boxster GTS. The microphone is under the camera, so you can actually hear it very realistically, so if you think it's loud, it is loud. We're only doing 70 miles an hour. The surface is quite coarse in the M40, but I think it's relatively normal. There are patched repairs areas here and there, possibly coming up now, where it's a little bit quieter. But yeah, I think that's more typical surface, and it is quite loud. So if you do long distances talking to a passenger, you might get a bit hoarse when you get to your destination. That's probably also a good time to talk about faults with this car, because you probably know that I had quite a few software issues with my Mk8 Golf GTI Club Sport and the A3 platform shares most, if not all, of that software. There have been similar problems with A3 and S3. I'm pleased to report, after over 3 days with the car, I've actually not really got anything to complain about, apart from with CarPlay, which always seems to be a bit of an issue now. I use Waze for navigation, and when I've been connecting wirelessly, I've gone to the app but not had any map on the screen. I've had the audio but no map, which is really annoying. The fix, which doesn't always work on my Golf, is to go to the CarPlay home screen, taking the bottom right icon, and that gives you Waze on 2/3 of the screen, and by pressing the map there, it then goes back to the app and gives you the full map working correctly. So yeah, that's a little bit annoying, but actually connecting with a cable so I can charge, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Speaking of charging, yesterday I was in the car for about an hour and using wireless charging, and the screen here for CarPlay and the phone screen said iPhone cannot be used because it's too hot, which I've never ever seen before that. So this wireless charger seems to be pretty aggressive, and it doesn't do that in my Golf. But it cooled down and it worked okay after that. That bong then was Audi Presense telling me it's restricted, and that's not a fault. There's a little yellow icon on the screen, it's gone now, but that's because it's covered in loads of road salt. I don't know if you can see the windscreen, but it's completely opaque where the wipers aren't wiping, and if that's the same on the radar, it probably is, if not worse. You can understand why it can't help you with noticing obstacles in front of you, so it's not really a fault. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty well, but I should tell you I'm not using traffic sign recognition to control cruise control speed. That wasn't enabled when I got the car, and that was what caused a lot of issues with my Golf. So yeah, so far, yeah, so good. The radar's so dirty, the windscreen's so dirty. First thing I'm going to do when I get to work is give the car a really good wash, because we're filming it properly tomorrow and we need to attach GoPros to the outside, and that's very hard when the car is covered in salt. So we'll see if we still like the looks of it when it's clean. Everybody seems to love it dirty on social media. Yeah, I do think it looks better dirty, but hey ho. I thought it was a bit weird that every time I took a picture of the new RS3's wheels, the centre caps were horizontal. Well, now I know why. It's got dynamic centre caps that always finish horizontal. It's really cool that the new RS3 saloon has got gesture control for opening the boot lid, so just waggle your foot underneath it with the keys in your pocket and it lifts up all by itself. Now on the Sportback, I think you're going to need the powered tailgate to do that, which is quite a rare thing, but on the saloon this is just operated by springs, so they probably all do that. I think I mentioned earlier that tomorrow, day 5 with the new RS3, is a day that I'm filming a video purely about its dynamics. Before I film these kinds of videos, I just like to check the tyre pressures are correct, so it's representative of the model's ride and handling, even if it's a press car. This car should be running 39 psi at the front, 35 at the back. That's if you're running below 155 miles an hour. But it should do us just okay for tomorrow. If you're in Germany and you want to go beyond that, you have to go to 45 at the front and keep the 35 at the back. So let's see how we get on. So we're looking for 35s at the back, 39s at the front. And that's on 36.9, so we need to go up a bit. That's good. And look how much rubber there is there protecting the wheel from curbs. I don't think even my wife would be able to curb that wheel. And on the back we want 35, we're on 34.7, that's pretty good really considering how cold it is tonight, because as the temperature goes down, the tyre pressures do drop a bit. So let's just go over to the driver's side. So we're getting the 39 on this front. Oh, that's a bit weird. Just try that again. 43. Yeah, 43. So let's let a bit out there. Very strange. That's close enough. And then finally, driver's side rear, 35. What have we got? 32.3, so we need a little bit more in there. That's it, bang on. Now, I've got a bit of business in Birmingham. I've got to go and see my 90-year-old mother. She lives in a place called Moseley on the borders of King's Heath. It's not a bad area, but there is a bit of a busy road that she lives on. And there's lots of traffic going to and fro from the inner city to the outer estates. And yeah, I don't really want the hassle of parking that on her driveway and bad things happening. So, believe it or not, I'm going to leave this beautiful, clean RS3 here and go in this wonderful Honda Civic that I took in part exchange and probably shouldn't have a few weeks ago. So yeah, that is the reality of Audi RS ownership in the UK, sadly. Welcome to day 5 with the new Audi RS3. I'm here at Jilks' Garage Cafe to film the dynamic test drive of this car. This will drop a few days after this video, so keep a lookout for that. I've got Simon here from Talk Cars fiddling with the interior, and he's going to be a good sounding board to just get to the bottom of how this car really drives. We've just come back to Jilks' Garage Cafe to film the summary on the RS3 and what should be here but a Wells Vertige. This is not a kit car as such, it's built locally in Bishop Itchington. It was reviewed in Autocar a few weeks ago and Steve Cropley said it was the best Brit since Noble. I take that with a pinch of salt though, because I'm not sure there's actually been any other Brits since Noble, but it's a pretty good looking car. It's not particularly expensive. This is the actual car that was in Autocar. I'd seen it on the Fosse Way back in the summer. It's great to see it up close. Today's lunch is a ham and cheese baguette and an MOT, a mug of tea. Yeah, we're on the Fosse Way and it's full of hollows here. We're in auto mode. It's quite firm, but it never feels like it's going to scrape its belly, does it?
It's nicely damped.
I think comfort might be a little bit too soft.
I think this is perfect for a UK road. It's not too firm. Comfort's a bit wallowy at times.
Yeah.
This is lovely. It's plush.
Right in the front.
Ooh, it's going to be. It doesn't get. See if we can park it out. Do you think we can park it?
Park it at the front.
By that Golf R?
There.
Do you reckon?
I'm going to back it in.
Back it up, back it in.
Well, we've done our filming today and as a bit of a treat, we've come down to Cafe the Machine again and yeah, got the prime parking space in front of the house. We've met up with Fast Up as well, my friend off Instagram. Now guys, there's an opportunity to see a Golf R and an RS3. So RS3 there, Golf R there. Which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. Now there's always something happening here, and I think because it's quite late on a Friday, we've come just at the end of a Maserati press launch for the new MC20, and I don't know if it's coming over on camera, but this is a really beautiful car. It's a very strange colour as well. Bearing in mind it's getting dark, it seems to be sort of glowing blue like neon, but wow, design wise they have absolutely smashed it with this car. Just notice the ambient lighting in the doors changes colour depending upon the mode you're in. So that's efficiency, which is white. If we go to comfort, that's yellow. Auto, I think, is white. Dynamic is red. And that's the same with the RS performance mode as well. And torque rear. A little thing, but it's a nice touch, isn't it? We've also got RS3 logos beamed onto the ground and RS3 illuminated sill covers. Good morning guys and welcome to day 6 with the new Audi RS3. I've just popped into Leamington Spa on my way into work to get some cakes from the cakery because Monday is my wife's birthday and I must remember to not use launch control while they are in the car because they're going to get really messed up if I do. I've never been a big fan of the cup holders in new A3, S3, RS3, just purely because you touch this really cheap fitting plastic, but also my thermal mug flaps around in it, so when I drive around you can see it moving, which isn't very confidence inspiring. It's a bit weird, this RS3 doesn't have side assist or blind spot recognition. There's nothing in the mirror casing or in the mirror lens. I get that standard on my Mk8 Golf R Sport, and this car has actually got the assistance pack, so it must be an extra. It's not in this list of functions as well for driver assist. What is good though is that if you press a button on the end of the stalk, you can switch off lane assist very easily. That's turned it on because I've just turned it off, and then press it again and it says adaptive cruise assist with no lane guidance. So that's good news for everybody who hates lane assist. My friend Malcolm has popped in today. How old are you?
78.
And that's his TT RS. I think that's probably a good ratio of age and horsepower. Love the TT RS. I had a Roadster in Daytona Grey, took it to Austria, but this car is just next level when it comes to the driving dynamics. I just think I could justify having both though, particularly if it was a convertible. Hello Toby. This is Toby the Cat, and he lives in a garden somewhere over here, and he comes and visits me. I'll be sad if I ever leave here. What do you think of the new RS3 then, Toby? Yeah.
Yes.
Earlier in the week I said you couldn't get a bike in the back of an RS3 saloon. Well, that's not strictly true. You've got folding rear seats, 60 section behind the driver, 40 behind the passenger. But what I meant was when we go away on holiday with all our luggage, it's very hard to get a bike in as well, because in the Sportback or in a Golf even, the bike would stand vertically here, and then all this space is your luggage. Another thing about the saloon is that I was expecting it to be a little bit better when it came to road noise than the Sportback, because the boot is a bit more sealed when it's a saloon, but it's so loud I can't imagine the Sportback being any louder, and I think that's all because it's the front tyres making most of the noise because they're just so big. While we've got the boot open, you probably want to have a look under here, see what's down there. So we have got the battery, we've got the pump, tyre foam, first aid kit, and fluorescent jackets. Probably a legacy of when this car went to Austria for the press launch back in November. There's some useful storage bits down here as well. So yeah, it's pretty good, but I think a Sportback is a lot more versatile. Although over this week, the looks of this saloon have really grown on me. It's particularly the rear quarter panel, because up to this point it's the same as a Sportback, but the saloon gets sort of like a continuation of this wide arch, and it goes further back than it does in the Sportback, so it just looks a lot more muscly. Another little nerdy fact, you can actually run this car on 95 normal unleaded, although I'm sure that will be with some restriction in performance, but it would be much happier on 98 or Tesco 99 Momentum, which is what I use on all my cars. Seeing as we've got an original TTRS here with the original 5-cylinder engine that produces 340 horsepower, thought it'd be a good time to compare it with this brand new version. So we've got the inlet manifold there, but we've got this plastic cover over the injectors and the coils. Got this big inlet here. Let's just have a look at the old car. So yeah, it looks pretty similar. That inlet's similar. The inlet manifold's really similar. But instead of a plastic cover, we've got like a crackle red finished rocker cover, which, I don't know, which do you prefer? Plastic cover or some proper sort of visible engineering? It's my last day at work with the new RS3, and before it goes, I thought it'd be good to have a look at the Magic Magna torque splitting rear differential. So there it is in silver. You can see the prop shaft going to the front of the car down there. So in that casing there is a clutch, and there'll be one on that side doing the offside drive shaft. It's similar in size to Haldex, but it's quite different in its shape. While we're down here, have a look at the back box that says RS on it, presumably so they know what car you've parked in a ditch on its roof. You can see the proper tailpipes there, same on both sides, 2 on each side, and there's a valve on each side as well. So there's one there and one right there. Now the LED matrix headlights are standard on this launch edition, as well as on the carbon black and Vorsprung RS3s, are more famous for displaying the characters RS and 3 on unlocking than they are for how they perform, but that's a real shame. So we're on automatic main beam now, which on older cars just used to turn the main beam off, but on these matrix headlights the main beam is chopped up into different LEDs, and the electronics tell the headlights which ones to extinguish to avoid blinding oncoming traffic. So now we've got a lot of illumination on the left from main beam, not a lot on the right. Now that car's gone, you'll see the beam comes back. We didn't get flashed by that driver either, so it does work really, really well, and it means night driving is just so much less tiring. Hello guys, and welcome to day 7 with the new RS3. We're just out here in Northamptonshire, just reshooting some of the car-to-car shots, because when I filmed with Simon in Kyneton it was too dark and the headlights insisted on being on, which completely ruins the shot. Today it's a little bit lighter and we should get some good car-to-car. Hopefully. There's a GoPro on the back of my wife's TT, just straightening it up. Okay, this is the last bit of filming we can do, but it's been a week of, you know, quite a lot of hard work, but hopefully worth it when you see the video. Last trip out then for the new RS3, and I'm doing what I just normally do on a Sunday, coming out to the countryside and having a walk. Got my muddy boots on, which I don't drive in, and it's a bit different to the other 4x4s you see doing the same, but I do like it. I am really going to miss it. Another day, another ginger cat.
Hello.
Well, it's 9 PM on day 7 with the new RS3, and I've just completed my last journey in the car. I've done about 650 miles in total, and I do really feel like I've got to know it very, very well indeed. I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it's quite expensive, over £60,000. I didn't really like the interior at any price, let alone over £60,000. I don't really like it in an A3 S-Line. And when it turned up, because I'd driven just briefly in the Tetbury Audi car, I didn't really know if all that great driving we've seen in the review videos, whether it be on a skid pan or up an Alp, I didn't really know if that would actually translate into driver enjoyment in the UK within the law. And I went to great lengths to find that out in another video, which will drop a few days after this one. But safe to say, I'll be sad when it goes. It is a great all-rounder. It does do a lot of things. It is a lot of car for a lot of money. It's a very comfortable cruiser when you're not in the mood. It'll get you home whatever the weather. It'll do track days, especially if you get the ceramic brakes. It'll drive across continents. It'll do the shopping. You can take your mum out in it. It's great. There are two little flies in the ointment, particularly in this colour. It does attract a lot of attention, not all of it good, but it does look stunning. So I guess that's the downside for a car that looks amazing. It's also a bit of a theft magnet. Now, there will be parts of the UK when you can enjoy it and not worry too much, but there are also lots of places where it's going to be very tricky to sleep at night if you've got these on your property, which is a real shame. And it's only a reflection on how amazing this car is, and also how bad law and order and the policing is and underfunded. It's not the police's fault in the UK right now, but if you're elsewhere, in areas where they will punish people who steal cars like this and break into your house, then buy one. It's such an incredible car. But the alternative is to buy two cheaper cars. So for £70,000, which is the well-spec'd RS3, you could have Mk8 Golf GTI Club Sport, when you could get discount on them. I'm sure that'll come again. And the Boxster GTS, like the one I bought, that would come to a similar sort of money. And then you've got two different cars that are probably a little bit better at what they're doing. The GTI will be better on fuel, and the Boxster will be a little bit more exciting on a good road, particularly if you drop the roof. So that's what I'm going to stick to. I'm not going to rush out and buy one of these. But if you have the means, as Ferris Bueller said, I'd highly recommend that you do. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this Volkswizard video. As ever, if you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, please do comment, please do share, please do subscribe, and keep an eye out for the full review video of the new RS3 that should drop within a few days.